to say, wasn't it Full House?
Full House.
Yeah.
And here's the dice roll. We see a 7 versus Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes.
You want that luck elsewhere besides at YuGiOh. So I am guessing that Ramiro Garcia in all rights is an amazing duelist. Has premier tops himself. So he goes to Epic as well, frequently. It looks like these two players will probably know each other.
All right, so it looks like we have a start off here with Gazelle and Spinny. That's the opening you want.
Oh, yeah.
No complaints.
And we're going to go up into Balinks relatively free, and there it is.
So grabbing the Sanctuary off the effect of Balinks, and then Gazelle looks like sending a Roar.
So unless Soul is really playing it, he looks pretty relaxed. I'm guessing he doesn't have interruptions in hand by how he is looking at everything happening, unless he's just next leveling a Soul.
It's true. I mean, he could just have a very stoic look. I mean, there's certain points you could possibly want to interrupt, but I don't know. I feel like some of those points could be gone at this point. We'll just have to see.
We just see Ramiro popping off here.
Right. So we see Salamangreat Sanctuary coming down. He's going to go ahead and make the Sunlight Wolf. This is a very traditional opening for Salamangreat. Honestly, if you get this opening, you're golden.
This is what we call Route 1 opening. No interruptions. We're just going down the straight road.
Absolutely. And it's, he gets the Gazelle back to his hand. He gets the Trap card back to his hand as well. Going to set 2. One of those presumably is the Salamangreat Roar, and he has Gazelle in his hand for his next turn. So, this is what Salamangreat wants in a going 1 play. So Foolish Burial Goods kicking us off here. Presumably going to send maybe a Metal Foes Fusion.
Yeah, Metal Foes Fusion is highly likely, and there it is.
Yep. This way he can go ahead, not only load up his graveyard with spell cards, but if he needs to upstart Goblin prior, he can go ahead and do that now, depending on the composition of his hand.
Well, if he thinks he can use cards to maybe bait early and get that 3rd spell in the graveyard so early, he might go down that route. Oh,
so Alistair the Invoker coming down.
That 3rd spell very well could be Invocation for a little bit, which also gets
shared ride in the main deck from Ramiro. Okay.
This man was next leveling this tournament. he looked at the field, said, "All right, I'm expecting quite a few decks that are going to be adding cards to hand continuously. Take me for a ride. I'm hopping on."
When you look at the metagame, Sky Striker is one of the best decks, Salamangreat is one of the best decks. Both of these cards, they do a ton of searching. Or both these decks, do a bunch of searching.
Texas does have really amazing transport for everybody. We've got the Dart, we've got things that you can hop on together, and he's just chosen to share the ride. Texas pride.
So we saw Saul missed with his Area 0 effect, revealing, I believe it was a Meltdown and a couple other cards that he wasn't able to net. So that's the unfortunate thing. I do like the synergy between Area 0 and Alistair, though. That is pretty nice. So Invocation in the hand.
And it's going to be activating, so he's going to attempt to banish the Alistair here, and
Roar is going to go ahead and bait that out.
And there's 3rd spell for the graveyard.
And a second Invocation. Oh, man. So Alistair going to get banished, and he's going to go ahead and summon out Purgatrio. I believe he banished one of Ramiro's fire monsters out of his graveyard.
Now, another great tool to go into at pretty much any time. We have the Invoker of Madness now, and so you're not really stuck with these. He can transition with 3 spells in graveyard now to his Sky Striker plays, and at any time really go back up into his tree, clear his main monster zone, and go into the Invoker of Madness. A great tool that this deck has picked up.
The flexibility of being able to pivot's really nice, and the thing is, too, if Saul actually banished the Balinks here, he can just wipe Ramiro's entire board. And that Purgatrio is sitting on, I believe, does it gain 200 per card?
Per card.
Correct. So it's currently sitting on 29.
It starts at 23 and it's
so it's 31. 31.
Yes.
I forgot if it started on 20.
Oh, there's an Effect
Veiler before entering battle phase. So that will remove the ability for it to attack directly, and it'll also bring its attack down as well. So Purgatrio now just on 23. He can still attack over something. But he's in a tough spot here because Sunlight Wolf has been Reincarnation Link summoned. Mirage Stallion also still has material. So
we're still in main phase 1, so if Saul does have a play to go somewhere else.
Correct, because Effect Veiler does have to be used before entering battle phase because it specifically says main phase.
But seeing 2 invocations, it's highly unlikely.
Right. He does have no monsters in his main monster zone, though.
That is true.
That is something to note. So his Sky Striker cards are online if he does happen to have any.
What great presence by Ramiro to also recognize, like, I don't want that hitting everything.
Yeah.
You don't often think about having to veil or something like Purgatrio.
Absolutely. And, I think that just shows how experienced he is. He's obviously played against Invoked before. And I think that was a very good point to use that Effect Veiler.
Oh, and he's wearing the Epic Cards in Game Polo. So, yes, both of these duelists representing Epic in some way, shape, or form.
So
Just noticed that, the stylish patch upon his polo there.
So it looks like Saul's in the battle phase now, just determining what to attack. I think I would attack Sunlight Wolf here because I feel like that's going to generate way more advantage than the Mirage Stallion would.
And that's what he goes for.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, he could just go into another Mirage Stallion on his following turn, or excuse me, a Sunlight Wolf. But
now, with no hand traps dropping in turn 1, does he have potentially actual back row here?
Well, we could have potentially drawn one for turn.
Yeah.
Assuming, but we don't know that for sure.
Yeah, that as well. And both duels smiling, having cordial conversation during the duel. Like I said, it's very obvious both these duels know each other.
What kind of back row do you think Saul would have, though? Because, like, I feel like if he had Widow Anchor, he'd probably have used it to potentially clear off, like, because I would have used it to clear off Mirage Stallion.
You have to remember that Eagle Booster is generic.
That's true.
So his Purgatrio could just be living no matter what.
Potentially, but I just would want to deny Romeo the ability to get more advantage off that Mirage Stallion because it's free. You know, this is like back in Zodiac format with Invoker. If Invoker lives for the next turn, it's just devastating.
And this is where Mario has to make a decision here, whether he wants to use Mirage Stallion's effect or not.
And
yeah, because it will lock him into fire-only effects, and typically that's not too big of a deal, but it can be.
So many players I've seen that they'll do that and then try to go to Bordeaux play. It's like, I'm sorry, it's not going to work, my friend.
I think what most players are scared of is like the interactive cards like Widow Anchor. So considering that Eagle Booster could just like protect him for the whole turn, like then you've got to decide how am I going to deal with that Purgatrio next turn that I had to Veiler this last turn. And
he has the Widow Anchor. Okay,
is
so
there instead.
Interesting. So he's opting to go ahead and use it now. Oh, he didn't have. Oh no, did he have 3 spells engrave?
He had to shuffle back the Metal Foes Fusion, and it looks like one of the invocations. So I think that is his third.
That would be why he said defensively. Okay, in that case, then that's okay. If he was able to steal it with Widow Anchor, it would have been much more effective to use it offensively.
I think he could have played that way at one point, but would have had to make the decision to do so.
Okay, so that gets negated. Lady Debug, that's a very strong card. Allowing him to search any of his Cyberus monsters in his deck, which is essentially his entire Salamangreat arsenal. Yeah.
It's crazy how mixed and intertwined this deck has become. You have the ability to fusion, Xyz, Link. They've really gone for a lot of the past mechanics to mix in and teach players with a core strategy all in one structure deck.
He got a level 3 fire. I couldn't see exactly what it was, but that would either be Foxy or Spinny. We know he has Gazelle in hand from the previous turn. Yeah, so Gazelle can just leap out of his hand whenever he just links off.
And there is Flamingo.
Okay.
I call it Flamingo. And,
it does kind of look like a Flamingo.
Looks.
Okay, so it was a Foxy and a second Widow Anchor.
He opts to take this one as his interruptions are going to be done for the turn.
Correct. So now with Phoenix gone,
he's going to have trouble linking up here.
Well, he can. He has Gazelle that he can summon because he did link off with something.
Then he go Bailing, Sunlight Wolf.
Correct, and he has Foxy Engrave now as well.
And the field spell. He has everything going.
Correct.
For him.
So he's not in the worst position. He does have to worry though that. Well, Phoenix is going to come back to him at the end of the turn, so that's not that big a deal. So at this point, he's just worrying about Purgatrio and how to handle Area 0.
To Twitch chat, we have 171 duelists in attendance today. It is a pretty wide field.
Is that the count?
No, it was 175.
175. Okay. So 8 rounds.
8 rounds.
8 rounds.
Yeah, we have roughly almost 400 players between both games.
That's good. So Ramiro.
Did he activate debug locked under Stallion? Ooh, the good catch, chat.
No, but Stallion was negated.
It was negated.
Okay.
Yeah, it was negated by Widow Anchor. So
good catch, commentators. Chat helped me a lot more last game.
They failed you this time.
Oh yeah, Judge.
I was wondering for a while why is his field spell in the center. I was like, oh, he just keeps.
He just likes to put it there.
No,
I've seen people do that before. All right, so Sunlight Wolf coming down. Such a strong card.
It's incredible the resources you've been able to give. Like, within just 40 cards, Konami really shows what it can do, and it can put everything in one little box.
So Mirage Stylus effect activating, sending...
Spin back Purgatrio.
Yes, spinning back that Purgatrio. So... And I was going to go ahead and shuffle a Sunlight Wolf back into his deck to special summon Jack Jaguar. And he's going to add a copy of Gazelle back to his hand with Sunlight Wolf's effect. And now he's going to Reincarnation Link summon it and get the Salamangreat Roar back to his hand with its other effect. Again, just like it's like +2 for nothing. And then ending his turn with the Roar set, Phoenix goes back to his field, and now Saul just has the field spell and a nice grip of cards there. I see a Magical Meltdown.
Yeah.
I think there's also an Alistair in his hand because he did shuffle Invocation back.
Yeah,
So he knows that's a known card.
I think Ramiro has to use the roar on the meltdown.
No, you don't, because you know he has Alistair already because he's added it back to hand. So you want to stop the search for invocation no matter what. You don't care about another Alistair.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's typically the.
And there's the Alistair first, and will he stop that?
Yeah, typically against Invoked, if you can stop the Alistair, that's kind of its. That's like the silver bullet right there if you can stop
The
that.
other invocation is also in the graveyard, so most duelists opt to play two, especially since he's now seen Sky Striker cards. He can assume the deck is somewhat cramped. I think we could see him also consider just stopping the invocation instead, just for the possibility in case he hard drew it.
Sure. So Ramiro thinking here on the activation of invocation.
Oh,
right,
Area Zero's on the field.
Yes, so he can't.
That's
wow,
huge.
jamming wave's pretty big. Eagle booster, jamming wave. He's not going to take another field spell.
Options you want to see.
Yeah, I believe Ramiro actually ashed the Alistair effect because he didn't search for invocation, and I believe I saw Ramiro dump the card to the graveyard. And Sal's going to go ahead and scoop it up. So we are going to go ahead to game number 2 here.
I guess he didn't like his options enough. All right, we are shuffled up and ready to duel.
And this is obviously the invoked aspect is, I think, what makes this the most interesting. That's why we wanted to pick this for the feature, because Sky Striker Salamangreat, you know, this is.
I want to see
typical.
Alistair do his thing, and
Yeah.
it'll be curious for me to see if he likes going second with his Invoke, because
Sure.
Invoke really changed that deck that likes
Ooh.
that. But no, he's going first completely. He wants to set up. He wants to get everything going for his Sky Striker engine, and maybe use the Invoked as that bonus of, oh, I have a Mechaba, by the way.
I like it too because when you're playing the invoked engine, terraforming has added flexibility because you can use it to grab Magical Meltdown if you don't want to grab Area Zero. But in this case, Sal's going to go ahead and grab that and upstart, just loading the grave with spells.
Feels good, man.
Yep. Looks like he grabbed a Foolish Burial Goods. Yes. So that's going to get him up to 3 spells, and he gets a fresh draw with the Metal Foes fusion as well.
Just whenever he wants it.
Yeah. It's
And
really
there it
interesting.
is.
It's because you're playing like essentially a bunch of dead cards in your deck just to load up your grave so that your engages and all the other cards in your deck just like become like insane.
It's funny how cards get used elsewhere. I remember when Lightsworn first became a thing, you would want to mill Metal Foes Fusion with Minerva Sworn.
Yeah.
Like, people would tech that into their deck to get free draws off their mills. It really takes me back seeing it just used in other strategies, purposely dumped there for multiple other purposes.
Yeah. Or like Foolish Burial Goods becoming like a staple in Spiral because you can send all the traps and it basically became a combo enabler at that point.
yeah.
So
I just like it when people play Foolish Burial Goods and dump the engage when they don't have the engage.
Right.
Just to immediately go to Kagaria and pick up.
I think that's smart, yeah. So we see engage, or not engage, Area Zero and a set card.
And the typical, I'm going to target this. And we
All right,
see...
Call out a Grave. Ray, okay.
Okay.
And Allure. Allure, that's interesting as well. I mean, Ray is a dark. Alistair is dark, I believe? Yes.
Yeah, he is a dark.
So, okay.
So something that can also do for your deck is, like, let's say you've gone through a weird situation of plays where your Alistair gets shuffled back, but you have an Invocation and Graveyard. You can end up banishing an Alistair off of that and use the Invocation effect.
That's actually pretty good.
I'm liking this invoke tech more and more as I'm seeing it.
So just going immediately into Shizuku.
So that kind of signifies he probably won't be going too further into this turn.
I believe I think one of those set cards might be an Eagle Booster.
So he could be living.
But it's okay, though, because Eagle Booster basically makes it so that you're immune.
And
Ash on the
Blossom
end phase.
Oh.
So no engage going to Sal's hand this turn.
All that set up, and I've just got something flying out of my hand to stop you from going further.
Yep, that's one of the key points. It's like if you can deny a Sky Striker player from getting to engage, it's going to be a rough time for them. So Ramiro on a 5-card hand.
But there is also to note a Ray in the graveyard for this setup too.
So Salamangreat Circle, presumably in draw phase. Go ahead and dodge Drone Lockbird. You never know.
Ooh, the next level plays.
Yep. That's how you should be doing it anyway.
Let him know, Simo.
Yep. If it happens to you once, you'll make sure it never happens again. That's all I'm going to say. So we see Gazelle coming down. Again, that's not the strongest play.
And to note, the Sky Striker's one drawback is now Ramiro has 2 places to be link summoning as he wants.
Correct, yes. And not having to use his extra monster zone enables... Ooh! Is that a Widow Anchor?
That was
Okay.
Widow Anchor.
That's smart, because not only does he get to take it, he also prevents him from dumping.
Yeah, if he has no
So-
further extension for this turn, he's in huge trouble.
Right. Like I said, Gazelle's a very weak point of the deck. If they normal summon it with nothing else, see? Exactly what I said. Ramiro's just forced to set cards.
That's a lot to back row, though.
But are they real back row?
I would think Ramiro, as experienced as he is as much as these two know each other's playstyle, several of those should be real.
Okay,
Maybe
fair.
mixing them in case of Twin Twister sided, but I can't imagine that
Right.
too many are bluff.
Sal going straight
And
into
I see
Hayate.
Phantasme. First
Ooh.
appearance for this Pro Play
Phantasme,
Tour.
yes. One of the strongest cards in this format, hands down.
Gotta love that Thanos. I love this card ever since it
Of course.
came out.
Gonna get look at him just smile activating.
Yeah.
This is Mr. Smug over here.
Well, you feel so good because you effectively shut off all your, especially against Sky Striker, so many of their cards target. You shut down so many of their options. Their Widow Anchors are now dead. Their Afterburner, like there's just so many good cards that Phantasme just protects you against. So it's not that Sao can't deal with this. It's actually, there's ways to deal with it.
Oh,
But
he has his invoke. He can beat over it
Yeah.
with his build.
he can beat over it. Jamming Wave, potentially, because Phantasme only protects monsters.
Yeah, and then you non-targeting this
Widow
thing.
Anchor, okay.
Oh, so he's just gonna force it.
He's
here.
just going to force it, yep.
That's his third anchor.
Now, the thing is, Ramiro does not have... well, if he has Salamangreat Roar, he can't use it because he needs to have a Link monster.
You're right, John. That is his third anchor. That fast already to this duel. That's his third and final anchor. He has not had multi-roll to recover any of it back.
He has Kagari. He can get one back this turn. He's going into Hayate here, presumably to send the engage, though. So
All right, so Afterburner, multi-roll, there you go. And Fusion of Fire.
I
This
like
man,
this man.
Now, the thing is, I believe Saul already has a Fusion of Fire in his hand. I think I saw it in his opening hand. So he could already possibly do something with it. But we'll just have to see. All right, so Afterburner coming down on the Phantasme.
And it's already used. It's negate if I'm correct.
Correct, because he used it on the Widow Anchor, and Afterburner will also take out an additional back row.
So he's now thinking of his back row. Is this worth it? Considering for a long time. I again don't think it's bluffs, but I think it's decisions.
Right.
But that would be my intake.
Phantasme's gone. Saul's going to roll for it. 6, so it's going to be the far right or far left, depending. And it looked like a spell card.
It
was
does
pretty
look
cool.
like a spell card.
I can't tell if that's Call by the Grave or... No, if it was Call by the Grave, he would have chained it because Raise and Grave. So that's not Call
Well,
by the Grave.
it's non-targeting when it destroys.
No, I'm saying he would have used Call by the Grave preemptively, I assume, unless he wanted to risk it that it wouldn't get popped.
It is called by it.
It was called by the Great.
It is called by.
Okay.
He just chose not to use it.
Yeah, that means the other back row are that worth it, or maybe
Or vice
Simo has
versa,
it.
just
Oh,
depends.
is this a translation?
Yeah, it looks like Saul was looking for a translation for one of his cards. Or one of Ramiro's cards, I'm not sure which.
Whatever it is, he has it.
When you want to play awesome foreign cards but forgot what it does.
Well, he could be wanting to check something specifically with how it's worded as well.
Yeah.
And that matters because, with costs and different things like that.
Is that
Hayate's slamming into the Gazelle, and Rage going to come down. So Rage is going to pop the Gazelle. He has to use the first effect of Rage, not the second. So that makes it a 2-for-1.
But there is a
And now he gets a Call by the Grave. So he had 2 Call by the Graves.
Okay, so
That's
Okay.
why.
nothing was bluffs. Everything was live.
Well, that also explains why he didn't activate the first one.
Yeah, that makes sense now.
In Texas, sometimes you know when to hold them, you know when to pull them, and you gotta have those reads.
John had to go there. Just be glad it wasn't the ogre.
All right, so multi-roll coming down. He's going to use 0. Oh, okay.
Shark Cannon.
So multi-roll use on
And
area
he has
0.
that fusion of fire in the deck. This is such a good combination.
I
He's
know.
playing so many fusion cards as it is.
I love it. And then Shark Cannon potentially taking the Gazelle. Oh, he's not going to take it. He's going to just banish it.
And we see
whiff.
That's one of the best feelings when you're playing against that deck, and you see the smile
Sure.
creep on Ramiro's face a little bit there. And one of the best feelings is to see no Sky Striker
I
cards
agree.
come up. And with that invoked engine, that's kind of the risk you take a little bit with
Now,
Area
he can
Zero.
still use multi-roll to go ahead and...
It looked like a Widow Anchor was a resource there.
I believe he's going to end phase? Because he could still use multi-roll to get rid of the area 0. Potentially. Oh, no, looks like he just went to end phase and just grabbed a Widow Anchor.
Interesting.
Now, knowing that Ramiro's opening board was pretty weak, one Widow Anchor can honestly just stop him again. And look at this, he's just setting a card. Wow.
That's top
This.
decks.
Oh, that was a meltdown.
Yeah, that
was a meltdown. Now, this is big because Saul can go ahead and multi-roll away Area 0, get a Ray, and then play the meltdown. And then get Alistair. Oh, this could be interesting.
But he did have that play last turn too, right?
It's true. All right, Area 0 on the set card. Allure, Call by the Grave. Wow.
You hate to see this kind of
whiffs.
thing happen.
Double whiff.
This looks like me when I play Striker at locals. For anyone in Florida, y'all know that I always whiff on Area 0.
All right, so Saul's considering his plays here. All right, so multi-roll in Area 0.
There it is.
Yeah.
And there's Meltdown.
Opting not to get Ray off Area 0.
Shuffles his deck here.
Because Call by the Grave has been...
And there's Alistair.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
He doesn't get the red.
Yeah, he didn't opt to get the Ray. Unless he only plays one copy.
Invocation
Possibly.
is
That
being added to hand here and going to activate. He has a myriad of options now, having filled his graveyard.
Yes.
And it looks like it might be a Raijin, which also, since like Ramiro's such a back to the wall, yeah, it is Raijin. His back's such to the wall that a normal summon being flipped face down could just stop another
Yes,
turn.
any Book of Moon-like effect against a Link deck is just crippling.
And Thunder Dragons, you can continue with dangers, but oh man,
Yeah.
Salamangreats don't have a lot of options. Just I can keep going, please. Especially when that graveyard looks so barren.
Saul also chose not to attack.
Oh, he's not done yet.
No, he's not
Is
done.
he? Oh no, that's another. This is another.
I was gonna
turn.
say it's another turn, yeah. So Alistair getting another invocation.
Ramiro is just in a position where he's just not doing, just passing.
I think we're gonna likely see a game 3. Commentator's curse may have.
So 1,000 from Alistair and 2,200 from Raijin.
For a total of 3,200 damage.
Said 22.
22, yes. And Chad is saying that Sky Striker Invoke typically only plays one Ray, so that answers that question. Because there'd be no reason you wouldn't grab
Yeah.
it. So that makes perfect sense. So Raijin, interesting enough, flipping down the Alistair.
He can. Is it when it's flipped face up?
I know, like Blue Boy can get flipped face up. Alistair, I mean, I would assume that's why he would flip it down. I don't see any other reason. So
It has
I don't
1,800 defense. Could be
correct.
why.
Could be that too. So Salamangreat Circle, getting Gazelle. Gazelle's gonna dump Spinny, but Raijin is going to flip the Gazelle face down. And that's rough because he can't even circle now because he doesn't have a face-up Salamangreat monster. Or Spinny, rather.
I wonder how many cards in hand Saul has, because he could potentially have linked into Invoker Madness Fusion Summon, then if he had a card in hand, pitch the card for the other invocation and tried to combo off.
And chat saying that Alistair can search on flip. Okay, that's what I'd assume. I don't see any reason why you do that otherwise. Chat's got our back. And Call by the Grave. Ooh. And Ramiro just scooping it up, it looks like. That's it, game 3. Yeah. All right, good handshake from these players.
So we are going to game 3 right now, and Ramiro will presumably be starting us off. But of course, that Invoke engine giving great going second options as well.
Of course, Foxy coming down, using its effect, so he is going to get a Gazelle here. That means he cannot use the Resurrection effect. Not that that matters too much. He might already have a plan for that.
And both these players just smiling. It's so awesome to see people playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Having so much fun out here.
Yeah.
Despite, this game 3, I'm down in an advantage. He's just happy. He's happy to be here.
So Ramiro opting to send Spinny with Gazelle this time because he was actually able to do the full combo because he already had it. He had Gazelle in his hand. So Foxy plus Gazelle equals the same combo. You just have to send the Spinny instead of the counter trap, which he may have hard drew potentially.
And there's Jaguar joining our friends.
Sure. But at this point, I mean, you're just setting up. Even if you don't have the trap, your field is just going to be so massive and you're going to have so much advantage that it's fine.
So sitting there looking like I don't have a hand trap to play, please proceed.
And there it is, the field. So, his deck has been so tight.
Yeah.
Overall. I imagine it's hard for hand traps to fit in mass.
Sunlight Wolf grabbing back Gazelle, it looks like? Or is that...
He did both. He just did it kind of quicker.
You know, one really nice thing
3 back row. Wow.
Yikes.
Sorry to cut you off. What were you
Okay,
gonna say?
one really nice thing.
Oh, anti-spell.
We finally got it, boys. Round 2, anti-spell.
And ain't against pins, but he was ready for the strikers.
It's true.
One really nice thing about Invocation, as I was going to say, if it can go off, is that he can banish resources from Ramiro's graveyard for Purgatrio.
Right. Well, that's what he did in the first game. And this is what we were talking about in the pre-stream before we started on the first match. Anti-spell and Salamangreat. It's popular.
It's not just for Pindu.
No, absolutely not. It overlaps with one of the best decks in the game, if not the best deck in the game. So Ray coming down.
The whole hand set? Oh, no.
Saul does not have a Twin Twister, otherwise he would have slapped that down real quick.
This is not looking good.
And even if he slapped it down, it could have been negated.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, if he hard drew the roar, then that would have been very bad because he would have taken a pretty significant minus from that as well.
Well, Ray is going to try to do her thing, and into Hayate, I assume. Yep.
Yes. Hayate going to go in for that 1,500 chip damage.
That's a big direct attack by MRD standards, I tell you what. Going to be able to send Engage. No, he's going for Afterburners. He wants to take care of problems and quick if he's able to stay in this duel. Smart choice.
Well, one of the interesting things about Afterburner, too, is if he gets 3 spells engraved, he can pop a monster, and he can get rid of the anti-spell.
But Balinks also kind of hinders that plan, doesn't it?
It does, yes. So, I mean, maybe Saul has a plan.
He just wants to get rid of his anti-spell right now. That's all he
Probably.
wants to do.
It already looks to me like he's about to be setting 5.
So Shizuku coming down. No, maybe not.
How fast can you come?
Setting the field spell as well. We might see a set
He's
6.
shuffling them. He's shuffling them. All but one.
That's smart. You always should, if you're going to set that many cards, you should just shuffle them. Don't set them down one at a time because then your opponent's going to have a read on like which ones are the better cards.
See why my IQ is as high as Twitch chat's number? Set 5.
Wow. John Moore the Prophet.
Now Shizuku's going to activate an end phase. Presumably he's going to grab... Well, I mean, I don't know, because it's like, you could grab Engage, but you're under anti-spell, so you're not going to be able to use it till next turn. So do you change your course of play here? If he waits for a full... Go for multi-roll. Interesting. Because what I was thinking is if you wait for a whole turn rotation, you could potentially snipe a monster with a Widow Anchor and then make a Phoenix to pop the anti-spell.
Yeah.
So... But again, going for multi-roll, so obviously Saul has a plan.
He needs to live this turn.
Yeah.
Which is possible.
Very possible.
Salamangreat, not the best at outputting damage.
But he does gain another Link Zone with that Shizuku.
Correct. So, I mean, that could make it easier for Ramiro. And
That
Ramiro
helps a
being
lot.
the skilled player that he is, he could find a way to make game regardless. Okay, so we see Mirage Stalio's effect activating. Just the value you get off of that if it stays on the field is crazy. All right, so Falco coming down.
I want to say that ain't Falco so bad just for the stream history. But it's Falco.
Again, just more recursability with the Falco. And then Gazelle also coming down here. So Ramiro's going to be able to send a card. At this point, it probably...
Does he have enough damage on board just to OTK?
Well, Saul has Ray Engrave. So that is also a problem.
Yeah, he's got multiple blockings for attacks, and it's going to be hard for Ramiro to get the damage output to end of this turn.
But we do know Ramiro does play Call by the Grave.
Yep.
So, to be fair, that could be a thing. I did not get to see what Ramiro sent with Gazelle. I would imagine it was the counter trap because he specialed Falco off Mirage Stalio. That way he can recur it just by linking off the Falco. But I'm not 100% sure, since it's slightly out of view. Ramiro doing some math, it looks like.
Quick math.
When your opponent starts writing down trying to figure out the numbers, that's not a good sign.
It's never a good feeling in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Heavy Storm.
I don't know. Heavy Storm. Well,
Feather Duster.
If we had Feather Duster, my lord. Oof.
I think that card could come back. I think it'd be fine.
Absolutely.
I think it'd be fine.
Yeah, chat's right. He cannot use his own Fusion of Fire here. His anti-spell is going to hold him back from any play like that this turn.
Unless he had one set from the previous turn.
Yep.
He has 2 sets.
We don't know what he has said.
All right, so Sunlight Wolf activating. I think he grabbed, I believe, the trap that he possibly sent off Gazelle. I saw a purple bordered card, so.
And here we go into presumably Heat Leo.
Yep.
Yep.
YuGiOh to pick apart the back row here. So that's going to get shuffled back into the deck.
Make another one, shuffle a second.
Yep. It's cool that that effect's not a hard once per turn. So Reincarnation Link summon, YuGiOh shuffles that one back.
That's just insane to me.
It is. I love it.
I agree with Seymour.
I like YuGiOh
I
to
think
break
not
here
being
and
once per turn
there.
is
Not
pretty
that the
good.
biased Salamangreat player shouldn't love it, but
Yeah. You know, I love it too. Yeah, absolutely. Not once per turn.
it's not like it's good, but it's not like unfair
Correct.
good.
I think the deck needs it though. If you just look at the Salamangreat
Sure.
cards, like it needed that to be able to be where it's at now.
Absolutely.
And here we go.
So let's see. It
Could we
looks
see a
like-
Nightmare Phoenix of his own?
Well, he could make a. If there's a way Ramiro can make a Borreload. Oh no, Borreload actually couldn't trigger because he did use Mirage Stallion this turn, so he cannot.
There's Sunlight
Use
Wolf and that
Borreload.
other link counter we were talking
Yes.
about. Pointer.
And he still has 2 open zones from the YuGiOh. So Jack Jaguar going to special summon itself back out with its effect. So that is Spinny
There's
too.
Spinny.
Okay.
Falco.
Oh, going
Yeah.
for Falco. Okay. So that is what 12, 18, 2000, 18, 23. That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, he can get there. If he can stop
And Foxy as well.
if he can stop Raven coming out, he's got this.
Let's see. So YuGiOh into Shizuku.
With no spells.
No spells, so that's 800 damage.
And strike.
Oh my god.
The old man says no, and there's the handshake. That is not the negation I was expecting. Ramiro showing the spice at the very end.
And that's going to do it. So
That's it, scoop it.
Ramiro's going to go ahead and take it. And Salamangreat proving its dominance as to why it's one of the best decks of the format, I would say.